You can't fight that evil on your own.
Yes.
Full stop, really. You know, Abu Mijan Al Thaqafi, radiAllahu anhu, he was addicted to alcohol, wine, before Islam and during Islam. And he was flogged, he was punished a couple of times because of his addiction. He kept coming to it again. At the end, what happened? Sa'd ibn Abi Waqas, radiAllahu anhu, during the battle of Qadisiyah, he handcuffed him literally, right? Because you caught him again.
Measures, yeah.
So this is how I see addictive behavior is not easy to deal with.
Yes.
Really. And as you mentioned, everyone has his own issues. Like there are some people who became addicted because they were, for example, they experienced sexual abuse when they were young. As a result, they became more curious and they started searching for sexual images and so on, and they became addicted all their lives.
Yes.
So unless you deal with this underlying issue of the sexual abuse, you will not be able to deal with the addiction. And that's why conversations and raising awareness is absolutely necessary.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned some pretty powerful points. If we could just dive into them. So, for instance, you said remove triggers. I think this is something very crucial that our audience needs to understand. There are triggers, there are cues that might entice you towards pornography. And perhaps those triggers might not necessarily be sexual in nature. They might not even be graphic in nature. If you could just walk us through, what does that entail?
So there are many triggers. Like the sexual triggers are obvious.
Yes.
You see something haram on the streets, on TV, on your phones, and that triggers your instinct to do something even more. There are also emotional triggers. You had a fight with your wife, so you become upset. As a result, to numb that pain,
the anger.
To numb the pain, you go and pleasure yourself. And there is something called also need, the need trigger. What is the need trigger? It's just that random thought that pops in your mind while you're alone.
So like a waswas shaitan.
Yeah, it's like shaitan will remind you that you're alone. Why don't you? That's why isolation is number one killer in your journey towards recovery. Number one killer. الشيطان مع الواحد وهو من الاثنين أبعد. Shaitan is with the one and he will always be farther away from the two. So the more you have good company around you, there are no chances for anyone to watch these films or pleasure himself when he's in good company, even if he is like having some urge.
Yes, and the key word there, Ustad Wa'il, is good company, because we do know that bad company can be even more detrimental than being alone, especially when the bad company is enticing you towards.
Absolutely.